Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Good training. Yeah, that was good. Bring on the Empire. May the 4th be with you, and welcome to We'll Build Everything. Today is May the 4th, and to celebrate it, this month's build is going to be custom lightsabers. This is a build that my dad and I have always wanted to do, and we thought, because it's May the 4th, it would be a perfect day to start. So we found a tutorial on Adafruit. It has Python coding, which we've never done, LEDs and sound effects. We're going to make custom hilts. It should be awesome. But be sure to stay around till the end of the video for an epic lightsaber battle. But right now, hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you, and let's get to the build. Okay, so it's time to start working on the electrical side of the build. It consists of two main parts, the microcontroller and the feather wing. We will attach those by using the pins, and it will allow us to control the LEDs and the sound effects. So let's solder them together. Now we're going to solder the wires to the LED button. We have two JST connectors which we're going to attach together, and one side will be soldered onto the button and the other side will be soldered onto our feather wing. So we just finished connecting our first JST connector to our feather wing, so now it's time to connect our other JST connector to our LED button. Okay, so now we have the button and the feather wing both wired, and this button is the button that's going to turn on the blade and light it up, and we're going to attempt to put in a second button that's going to cut power to the entire system. So now all we have to do is add the speaker, so let's get started on that. Okay guys, now it's time to solder the wires for the speaker. The speaker is what's going to give our lightsabers the cool sounds when we turn it on and swing it. And we're going to do that by using this 2-pin JST connector that will plug straight into the feather wing. And once we have these soldered onto the pre-existing wires on the speaker, we're going to use some heat shrink tubing to make sure the connection is nice and tight. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so we soldered in the button and we've soldered in the speaker too and loaded in the code. So before we put the LEDs in, we want to test it. So with the first click, it should turn on. With the second click, I should be able to move this and it should make some type of sound. And with the third click, it should turn off. So let's test it. Okay, so the first click works. Okay, it can turn off. And okay, so it's definitely working. So now we can move on to put in the LEDs, and then we can make the hilts and we'll be done. Okay, so to wire our LEDs, the first thing we need to do is cut off some of this plastic at the top and remove these pre-existing wires and replace them with another JST connector. This one is 3 prongs, and then that plugs into our feather wing. Okay, so now it's time to test our LED strips. We just finished rewiring them, and what we did did to make my lightsaber green, like Yoda's lightsaber, is we changed the RGB and to make it green. So hopefully when I press this button, this should turn green. Yes. Okay, so now that it's green, hopefully when I click this a second time and shake the feather wing, it should turn white like I'm hitting another lightsaber. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And the last test is when I press this button the third time, it should turn off. Okay, it's super cool. So now the next step is we need to figure out some way to put our LEDs into our blades. So let's get into it. Okay, we're back in the garage. It's time to assemble the blade and the LEDs. The first step is we need to get rid of the extra wires on the LEDs at the end of them and get rid of the plastic that covers it. Okay, so I finished taking off the plastic off the LEDs and I chopped off the wires at the back of the LEDs. So I'm just gonna do one quick test just to make sure nothing bad happened and we're still in business. Okay, so it's working good. It's definitely a lot brighter without the plastic. So now it's time for the second step, and it's taking this board of corrugated plastic and we're gonna cut 2 strips and basically make a corrugated plastic LED sandwich. The LED will be in the middle and then the corrugated plastic will be on the outside. Okay, so I'm just putting in the last of the LED strip. So when I press this button, hopefully it should light up our blade. Okay, now when I shake this, the blade should turn white. Okay, it's looking pretty cool. So now that we have the blade assembled, it's time to move on to our hilt. We 3D printed the pieces of our hilts. And when we originally started this build, we made them out of PVC, but then while doing the electrical part of the build, we got a 3D printer and we thought it would be fun to 3D print our hilts. But if you don't have a 3D printer, making your hilts out of PVC works just as well, and you get to customize it a little bit more than when you 3D print. Now let me show you how the 3D printed pieces combined into the hilt. Okay, so the hilt, most of the pieces are screwed together except for this one middle piece that you kind of fit into the other 2 pieces around it, and we can put a screw here when we're all finished to tighten the thing up. And now let me show you how all of our electrical pieces can fit inside of it. Okay, so here's how it works. In the very bottom piece, we have our speaker, and there's holes here to let out the sound. This next piece houses our battery, and here are 2 buttons. This button actually turns on the blade and turns on the sound effects and turns off the blade. And then the other button can cut power to the entire system and is the on and off button. So when this is on, you can turn on the blade, and when it's off, you can't. And here is our feather wing, and it's exposed, which makes it look super cool, and it attaches up to our LEDs up with the blade. Okay, so I'm pretty sure my dad just finished his lightsaber, so I'm gonna invite him in.
Hey, do you want to fire up our blades?
Yeah. Ready? What? You joined the dark side?
You do not yet realize your true importance. You've only just begun to discover your building powers. Join me, and I'll complete your dream. Together, our combined strength can produce amazing videos and bring us lots of subscribers.
Subscribe now. I'll help you with the YouTube channel, but I'll never join the dark side.
If you only knew the power of the dark side, it could make you an amazing master builder. And Will, I am your father.
Duh. Ah! Enough of this. Goodbye. Thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. And thank you a lot to my buddy Knox for being in the opening scene. We had a lot of fun filming that. And may the Force be with you.